Hey guys, good morning. I want to jump right into defeating domestic violence through movement. So, what is domestic violence? When violence is committed by someone's in the victim's domestic circle. Again, what is domestic violence? When violence is committed by someone in the domestic circle. So, what is the dynamic of the whole domestic violence thing? Who are the persons involved? What is the forms of domestic violence? Okay. So let's start with violence. What is violence? The definition of violence is the use of physical force so as to injure, abuse, damage, or destroy that person. Again, who are these people involved in the domestic violence circle? Partners, ex partners, immediate family members, which includes brothers, sisters, um, mother, father, other relatives can be cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephew, grandparents, step siblings, and friends. Yes, your friends can abuse you. So the whole dynamic of this, if I can say, the whole subject or the whole highlight point of this is about power. So there's usually a power gap between the victim. Who's the victim? The victim is the person who is being abused. And who is the offender? The offender is the abuser or the one inflicting the pain. And there are many types of domestic violence. Domestic violence comes in forms of physical, sexual, or psychological abuse. Okay, so let me say it again. Domestic violence can come in form of physical, sexual, psychological abuse. What are the types of domestic violence? Physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, and financial. There are five types of domestic violence. Again, physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, financial. Today, I want to highlight sexual and financial. Okay, so sexual abuse. When the abuser purposely sabotage your birth control, you're on this daily regimen, you're on a schedule, but for some reason he wants to control you and maybe hide your pills or distract you from taking your pills by constantly fighting with you or getting into an argument. The second one is reproductive coercion. So you guys talked about it, you plan, you won't have kids anymore, but all of a sudden you get into this big fight. He wants to make it up to you by having sex. So he purposely gets you pregnant against your will. That is reproductive coercion. So now you're pregnant, you have no place to go. Now you feel that you have to stay there because it has to help take care of the baby because you can't do it by yourself. So again, reproduction coercion, when the abuser purposely gets you pregnant against your will. Using sexual or derogatory names. This happens for men and women. And I want to make this point clear. Domestic violence happens to men, women, and children. It does not discriminate. It's not about race, color, or gender. It happens to everyone. I just want to make that clear. I'm not here on this challenge to have a biased opinion about bashing men or women. It happens on both sides, okay? I'm about the whole structure and I want to speak on behalf of men, women, and children. Women, men, children, children, men, women, however you want to say it. Domestic violence, harm, it's a humanity thing. It happens to everybody. I just want to make that clear. I was talking about sexual abuse. So, sexual abuse when you're using derogatory names, meaning they call you names to break down your identity, to strip you of who you are, to break down your self esteem to a point where you feel like you're nothing when you're having sexual relations with this person. So, derogatory names, you're a B, you're a slut for men. You ain't S. You can't get it up. I can find somebody who do it 10 times better than you. That is derogatory name calling and statements to belittle and break down the person's self esteem. It is a power and control thing. The last one, forcing a partner to become a sex worker or a prostitute. Those are examples of sexual abuse. The next one, which I find amazing, and I remember I was in training years ago, financial abuse. Are you kidding me? Somebody could financially abuse you? Yes, they can. Here are some examples. Um, Purposely maxing out a partner's credit card or bank account for selfish needs. So I remember a song years ago, hit them in the pockets, and it was, I guess, some movement for women. You get mad at a guy, hit those pockets. But suppose that guy is a good guy and he didn't do anything to you but just want to help you. But you have this mindset where you have to have control. where you want to get back at them and be vindictive for whatever reason. So what you're doing is you purposely mess up that person's credit score. You purposely delete all their money out of their account that they've been working so hard for and trying to save. And again, that's for men and women. So what you purposely do is mess up their money on purpose. That is financial abuse. You know it's wrong, so you want to take something away from them. That is a form of control. Number two, another financial abuse is forcing a partner to sign documents against their will, whether it be taxes or immigration papers or any other thing that's important. They tell you no, they don't understand what they're signing. You're forcing them to do it against their will. That is financial abuse. Having bank accounts in the abuser's name. What is the abuser? The person who inflicts types of pain on you, whether it be verbal, psychological, emotional, or mental. Okay? So all the money that you make, the abuser is forcing you, oh, let's put it in my name, it'll be much better. He or she has access to all the money. You don't have access to it unless you go through that person. That is a form of financial abuse, controlling how, when, and where the money is spent. So now that you ask permission to get access to this money, they're going to tell you where to spend it. I don't want you going to Lord and Taylor's. Why don't you go to Payless? I don't want you eating at some type of five-star restaurant. Get a Happy Meal at Burger King. So they're controlling how much. Don't spend 25. Don't take that much money. You don't need $25 to spend on the bill. And why don't you go somewhere and only spend $10? How you spend it, when you spend it, where you spend it, and the amount. That is financial abuse. The last one is assigning allowances. It's often small and realistic. So, say if you want a pair of shoes that you really like, you have these wear down pair of shoes and you need a new pair. And I'll use the Payless example. You need a pair of sneakers. You want a pair of Nikes on sale from an outlet. That's like maybe $30, $40. The abuser's like, no, you're good. Go to Payless, get some Bobos or some Skechers or whatever, or some Champions for like $10. And once it's $10, I want you to bring back my change. So assigning an allowance and controlling what you do. So the whole point of abuse, and that was examples of sexual and financial, is about control. One of the effects of domestic violence is one word. Domestic violence causes trauma. Trauma is trouble, restlessness, anxiety, unstableness, misery, and anger. After these 21 days, I will have a booklet for sale that you guys can buy and look through. I really want you guys to spread the word and to really help those who are really suffering from domestic violence and who are surviving, and really encourage them on the road to healness. What is trauma? Well, according to American Psychology Association, trauma is a response to an event that finds a person highly stressful. It causes a wide range of physical and emotional symptoms. Again, what is trauma? According to the American Psychological Association, it is a response to an event that finds a person highly stressful. It causes a range of physical and emotional symptoms. Well, what are these symptoms? I will break it down into four categories. Mentally, which is called cognitive, it causes nightmares, memory loss, confusion, and mood swings. The second type of trauma is behavioral. You avoid going to certain places. All of a sudden, you withdraw. You don't want to be around anybody. You want to be by yourself. You have a lack of interest. You used to love to paint, hang out with your friends for paint and sip. Now all of a sudden you find yourself retreating in the shell and you're dark and you want to be by yourself. You want to be around anybody, not even your closest friends. You don't smile anymore, you don't laugh anymore, you don't tell jokes, you have become, or you find yourself transforming into this empty shell. So you lose lack of interest. That is behavioral. Okay. So the next one is physical. Physically, you find yourself tired, exhausted. You find that your eating and your sleeping patterns are changing. And then psychologically, this happens. You become fearful. There's depression, there's shame, there's guilt, there's anger, and anxiety. These are all symptoms or effects of how trauma affects you on a cognitive, mental, behavioral, physical, and psychological level. Emergency outlets. If you are a victim of domestic violence or know somebody domestic violence, whether it be a man, woman, or child. I'm going to say this throughout the whole video. I am not here to bash men. This is a whole thing. This is a humanity problem. It happens to everyone. Female, male, children, older, younger, doesn't discriminate. So again, anybody who is suffering from domestic violence, here are these emergency outlets. Call the domestic violence hotline. Call the cops. If you're physical, you getting your behind beat behind closed doors, you have black and blue marks, you ran out of makeup to cover all that stuff, you're wearing long sleeves, you have black eyes, call the cops. Don't send cryptic text messages to anybody. Call the cops. Get out of there. Tell a friend. Use secret codes with your friend. Text somebody. Have a friend that is not a friend of the abuser. Have one of your circle of friends to call. Have secret messages. For example, your best friend knows that you're allergic to pizza or fish. Send out a cryptic message like, hey, I want to go out to dinner. Seafood. Let's have some shrimp. Once you text that, the friend will know that you are in trouble. So that's just an example. Or, hey, I want some Pizza Hut. Now, your friend no doggone well and good, you can't stand Pizza Hut or Domino's. But if they're saying the word pizza or Domino's, something opposite to what the person likes, then that should be an agreement between you guys like, help, I'm in trouble, get me out of here. Call, seek for safe houses or shelters. Once you call these places, the abuser will not know where you are. It is a safe place. It is confidential. Only you and the shelter know where you are. The shelter will give you a certain amount of days to get yourself together. So you are in a protective place. You get help. You get counseling while you are there. You can help look for a job, get yourself together mentally, and heal while you are trying to start getting a fresh start. So, okay, the emergency outlets, I'll run through one more time. Developing a safety plan. What is a safety plan? Call domestic violence hotlines. Seek safe houses. If it is really physical and severe, your number one thing should be call the cops. Tell a friend. With this friend, if you're in an abusive relationship and you trust that person, that should be your friend who is on your side, not a friend of the abuser and is always sticking up for the abuser and making excuses for the abuser's action. No, this should be your friend who cares about your welfare. So, what you want to do with this friend is create secret codes. Again, the code can be pizza, pineapple, seafood. It's all cryptic stuff that your friend knows that you don't like and that you can't stand, but these symbols or these words are a code for help, okay? So those are emergency outlets. What are the coping skills and therapeutic assistance? So to help you get back to a goal of wholeness, what you can do is exercise, mindfulness, support system. Again, friends. Join a domestic violence group. Immerse yourself into a community where you don't feel shame, where you don't feel foreign, because domestic violence does happen to people. Don't be ashamed of the situation that you are in. So surround yourself with people who have been in a similar situation just like you, so you can relate and you guys can come together as a whole to heal. Positive self talk, meaning if you have been stripped of your identity and your self esteem is so low you forgot who you were, start using positive affirmations. Depending on your faith, read something like the Bible, for example, that spiritually builds you up. Whatever your ritual is, whether it be praying or like again, whatever your faith is, use those things to build yourself up. Read self-help books. Another method is journaling. Seek therapy. There's talk therapy. There's creative arts therapy, which is art, dance, drama, music, poetry. Seek some type of counseling to help you. What is therapy? Therapy is a place where you get counseled and people, the therapists or the professionals help you resolve traumatic problems like your behaviors, your beliefs, your feelings, relationship issues, and also if you are experiencing sensations in your body, it is a therapist's job to help you get back to a place of wholeness and positive thinking and getting on the right track. So, again, if you were stripped of your identity, your self esteem, it is the therapist's job to help you resolve traumatic problems, beliefs, feelings, relationship issues, and whatever responses you are feeling in your body. So, for example, if you've been severely beaten or punched in the face, and you have this thing where you're constantly shaking, or you're constantly looking over your shoulder, or you're always in defense mode, therapy will help you to calm yourself down. Calm down the anxiety that you are feeling or the anger, so you won't be able to like blast out at anybody that comes at you. So therapy teaches you that everybody is not out to hurt you. It gives you a balance, and it helps you to decipher, okay, this person really wants to hurt me versus this person is nice and a friend and only wants to help. A lot of time when people are in domestic violence and they come out of it, everybody is the enemy, and that's understandable because you've been in an environment for so long where it's just hurt and pain. You attack everybody. So the point of therapy, and I hope that part made sense as I was trying to give the definition. The point of therapy again is to help you resolve problems, to get you back onto a more rational and positive mindset of thinking, to a point where everybody in the world does not want to hurt you. Everybody is not the abuser. Okay. um Defeating domestic violence through movement. I am a dance movement therapist. And I know you're wondering, well, what the heck is a movement therapist? Is that such a thing? Yeah, actually, that it is. And it's pretty interesting because I've been doing it for the past professionally 3, almost 4 years, but I've been studying it and I have my degree in it since 2016. And within this domestic violence world, it's really, really, really a personal journey and passion of mine. Just to see people come out of it and how movement is a medium of healing. So, what is dance movement therapy? Dance movement therapist helps people focus on improving their self esteem, which I talked about, their body image, developing an effective communication skill and relationship. Also expanding their movement vocabulary and gaining insight into their pattern of behavior. And also, it creates coping skills with their problems. So basically, the highlights is helping improve self-esteem and body image, developing effective communication skills, expanding their movement vocabulary. So, for example, the person has been beaten down so much that they begin to use their arms and reach up, coming out of whatever pushed them down in the first place and gaining back their power or their victory. So, for example, and I'll stand up and I'll show you. So, for movement, because the person has been pushed down and beat down for so long and then they begin to feel heavy. My job as a movement therapist is to give you coping skills to go the opposite. So you were down and depressed and oppressed by your abuser verbally, physically, emotionally. You go down and down. I'm going to help you get victory and push your way up out of the darkness, out of the depression and the anger. Okay, so I will give you an exercise on defeating domestic violence through movement. So, movement is side to side, back and forth, moving your arms. And with this, what I do is I listen and I come up with coping skills. So, the person has been physically slapped. The emotion there is sadness, fear, loss of power. Sadness, fear, loss of power. Sadness, fear, loss of power. How can I help you get out of that? How can I help you from not being sad? Use words, use self affirmation. How can we use that in movement? I am beautifully and wonderfully made. Where I was sad, I begin to lift up my head, look up to the light. God has made you and created you to be a beautiful person. I was sad. I'm going to use my words and movement to lift my head up and to believe that I'm a beautiful creature. I was sad. I will lift my head up to my creator and realize I'm a beautiful creature. So lifting up my head, using positive words, positive affirmations. So without using my words, lifting up. Stop being down, lift up. You're no longer oppressed or defeated. Lift yourself up. Use your hands. Lift yourself up. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm a person of power. I have the victory, no longer defeated. That is an example. Fear. I'm afraid. I'm protecting myself. I'm blocking myself. So here, I'm protecting myself. How can you no longer be fearful? Gain back my power, fight back. I've been fearful. I've been broken down. How can I gain back my power? I am a powerful person. You will no longer oppress me. Fear, protecting myself. How do I gain back my power? I will gain back my power. I'm a powerful person. I will rise up and fight the system. Gain back your power. Whatever you need to grab to gain back your power and to lift yourself up. So I'm pushing away. Now I'm grabbing onto something and I'm fighting back. Look at my body. I was down. I grabbed something. Now I'm back up, fighting, gaining my power. So that is dance movement therapy. I use movement to help them get back into who they used to be. Okay. Thank you so much. That's my presentation. I hope you understood it. If you need information, email me at awilliam4000@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I will post these videos. Please share. Again, domestic violence is a gender problem. Male, female, doesn't discriminate. It happens to all cultures. It also happens to children. It happens within families. It happens in marital relationships, divorce relationships, ex-partners. Again, as I just explained before, you could go back. So again, I am not here to bash you or to shame you or to make you feel guilty. My job is my passion, being spiritual and as a therapist and just a human being, is to help you and to help you realize that it is not your fault. You have the power to get out of this. You are not by yourself. There are people who want to encourage you. I don't care how you got into it. My concern is getting you out, freeing you so you can live to see another day, so you can live your latter days in wellness, in happiness, with no fear, without being abused and oppressed. Thank you so much. Love you guys. And this is the first day of the 21-day challenge. Take care. Be blessed. Bye bye.